We know that you voted against the GOP healthcare bill earlier this year. So what do you need to see in order for a full repeal of Obamacare?
I favor making sure that we move forward in a bipartisan capacity, and the best reform would be bipartisan in nature. I thought the Obama administration handled the situation poorly, Shery, when it enacted the law without Republican support, and I don't think Republicans should try to change it without Democratic support, and I think this compromise is the first step in the right direction.
How worried are you about this interregnum? You have the president doing away with these subsidies for the time being. I imagine there are many people in the 7th District and across New Jersey who rely upon them. While you do the work that you're doing on the appropriations side of things, while Senator Lamar Alexander and Senator Patty Murray are working on their legislation in the Senate, there's a period of uncertainty here which must weigh on many of your constituents. How do you react to that? Could this have been handled in a more, I don't know, procedural way where it wouldn't be as instantaneous as it has been?
I think we should move as quickly as possible, and that's why the Problem Solvers Caucus suggested this a while ago, and I hope the Senate works on it this week, and I hope the House works on it as soon as the Senate completes its work.
And you're here because the House is on recess, but of course the schedule and the timeline for everything that Congress has to do is pretty tight. What's next on the agenda when you go back?
Certainly, I hope that this is on the agenda, and we have other important issues as well. We have the issue of DACA, for example, and we're discussing tax reform, and we're in our districts across America, but I think we're working hard and we're listening to the people in our districts.
How do you react to what Gary Cohn said yesterday? He was in Chicago talking before the American Bankers Association. He talked about the schedule, as Shery just mentioned, how there are a few days when both houses are in session at the same time. There's a lot that needs to be done here. Do you foresee working more over these next few months? How large does that deadline loom?
I want to work to conclusion on these important issues, and I'm certainly willing to work right up until Christmas Day if necessary. I think it's important that we do the business of the American people.
You've mentioned tax reform as one of the huge issues, of course, on the table. And I know that you don't want to see the reduction in the state and local tax deductions. However, Representative Peter King coming out with one compromise that could be limiting the deductions to people with income less than $400,000. Would you be able to be on board with that?
I'm not sure I would. I would prefer that it be off the table completely. It was on the table in 1985 and 1986, Shery, the last time we had major tax reform, but then it was taken off the table. I don't like to see double taxation. I don't think you should pay taxes on income where you've already paid taxes.
My ears perked up yesterday when Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was talking about the second year of President Obama's term. He talked about major legislative victories that didn't take place until the second calendar year. Do you see that as a sign here that the deadlines are going to start moving some? I suppose, in other words, what I'm asking is, how important is it to get tax reform passed by the end of this calendar year? Does that deadline, artificial as it is, matter to you?
I think it's more important to get it right, and it took 2 years in 1985 and 1986, and it was bipartisan with President Reagan and, for example, U.S. Senator Bill Bradley of New Jersey taking the lead in the Congress. And so I think it's more important to get it right, but we certainly should be working on it, David.